Hello, everyone. So I hope you are queuing up Troma now and you are ready to watch Sweetmeats with myself. But I'm not just watching this on my own. I'm watching this with the director, writer, star of the film, Ricky Glore. Ricky, how you doing?
On-set fluffer, you name it, you got it.
You did
You.
it all.
That intro was amazing. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, man. I always try and get a little mood board for whoever's coming on because and this is why I've held off from saying this before we started because I really wanted you to hear this live. This would have been a really awkward um, director commentary chat, but I absolutely loved the film. I absolutely loved it. My
Oh, I've
letterbox
look,
attests
hey
to it as
man,
well.
I did that. I've done that. I had booked a guest for a podcast. And it's Phantasm 5. I'll just straight up say it. I booked the director for it. Me and my friend were lifelong friends of this series. And it was before we saw Phantasm 5 Ravager. And then we saw it and we were like, I don't know. Hey man, you did it. Good job. Like that's something that happened and we saw it. Like, but no,
Yeah.
yes, I get the sentiment. But I will say this: like, anybody who watches this, hopefully you've watched it before the commentary, or go back and watch it without
Course,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
commentary. I have heard it's a good rewatch of picking up new things. So, leave a review on Letterbox. I have really enjoyed engaging there with people who want to talk about movies. It's I don't love a lot of different social media platforms or really engage a lot actively. Letterbox is one of them. I can like be like, yeah, this is a cool
Yeah.
platform. It's kind of like the old IMDb message boards, if you're ever familiar.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I think with I maybe don't use Letterboxd to its full capabilities. I mainly use it to remind myself of what I've seen. I tend to give them a little rating. I used to just do films that I'd seen at the cinema in person, and then I moved to a place where it's almost impossible to get to a cinema. So I was like, right, I'm going to go back and do every film and just continue to do every film. So now it's pretty much what I watch goes on there. This film, I'll just say, like, one of the reasons I really enjoy it before we kind of set up and play and watch it. I'm a big Troma fan. I love Troma. And I think a couple of minutes into it, I was like, oh, okay, this is good. And then it completely took such a turn.
For good or for bad.
For good.
Okay.
Because it doesn't sit with Troma films if you just think in your head of what you're going to see in a Troma film, if that makes sense. The music for one is incredible, is great. The comedic side of it is spot on. The just the way it felt, just the whole mood of it, the way it felt was just.
I will say, where are you
surprises.
located? Yeah,
I'm in the UK.
Located?
I'm in Cumbria in UK.
Yeah, I'm not like looking like GPS. You like get a squad on you where you're at, but like I wasn't sure what time of day it was, so I have two kind of beverages. I have coffee if it's morning over there, and I have an old fashioned if it's the evening and we're getting cozy. Both have whiskey in them.
You can have you could just mix them both together and see.
I was going to say the reason why I was bringing that up is not to plug our other films or what we have coming up, but our first film, All Your Friends Are Dead, which was a horror comedy, has played so much better and more well received overseas. Right. The satire, even including Sweetmeats, which Sweetmeats is even more honed in on because we learned that from All Your Friends Are Dead of what we liked and what we like to do. And we're like, all right, we're going to do heart and humor. And we're really going to zero in and focus to make sure everybody across the board is on the same page for what the tone is. And so that was Sweetmeats. And so far, it being not Troma while being Troma is our biggest strength and our biggest weakness.
Well, well, maybe we'll dig into that as we go along because there's an exact moment where I think it takes a turn, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm in. I'm 100% in now."
And feel free to ask. You are not going to hurt my feelings if you have any judgments of anything, or even if you want to backhanded compliment something. No, if you want to be like, "Is that intentional? Because this is what I'm thinking." We are that kind of group that even if it wasn't written that way or filmed that way in editing, we look at every process as a puzzle. So it might have come to that conclusion for that intention. I'll hand the conch back over to you.
No, and it's subjective as well. So, like, there's definitely a moment, I guess, and I imagine I'm the same when I send in scripts and things. People, I have to let go and accept that someone is going to take something completely different out of it than what I've, or maybe find something that might make me go, oh yeah, maybe I did mean that.
It's a little easier for me because, as we've already said, I wear a shit ton of hats at where. Sorry, are we allowed to curse?
Yeah, man. Do
okay.
you ever, yeah,
well, I wear a lot of.
We're 6 minutes in.
Yeah. I wear a lot of hats, so I have a little bit more of control for good, I think, of making sure that, like, presenting to actors or anybody who works on the crew or the team, that I'm giving them their best foot forward to what they're stepping into. Because in the indie world, like, that's what makes these things come to life, is tenacity and passion and drive. But I also, being so specific with these kind of movies, if somebody doesn't fit, they kind of stand out like a sore thumb. And can we fix that, or can we address that and use that rather than it being a hindrance? So
yeah. I'm really excited to. I've got it queued up. I know that hopefully people watching this now, in the future, whenever they're watching it, because they've got this on Troma now. Is there any other kind of future things in the works for where to watch it beyond Troma now?
Yeah, if you didn't get the Indiegogo exclusive Blu-ray, which every time we do a movie, we kind of do a crowd fund where one of the things is you're always buying something, you're not just contributing money, is a special edition Blu-ray that has things that are only on that. Troma is actively putting together a really good Blu-ray. So, like, a really high quality, really well mixed. They're putting a little money into it with some special features that weren't on the Indiegogo. And so that should be out, I think, maybe this time next year, if not in the next, like, 6-8 months.
Oh, awesome. I'm in the market for that. And here, I'm going to pitch you my idea now as well. Here's my thing. I'm in the market for the soundtrack vinyl of this, a bit with...
Me too.
But like a kind of, you get them in the different colored vinyl.
Yeah.
Splatter something paint, not necessarily burger, but maybe burger meat.
Oh man.
Kind of
or
bottle.
It looks like a burger, like one side is a burger patty, like undercooked. It's that pink, and it's a blood splatter on it, or like the blood of the burger. The other side is that pig pink, and it's the pig face with the blood spat. It's the mask with the blood spatter on.
Yeah, and I literally, I have gone through a phase of getting rid of a lot of my kind of horror soundtrack albums, because I just had them, but I wasn't listening to them. But that is one I would break my rule for.
So you're saying you would get a vinyl if we did if we did a print to order? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. 100%.
You
have to sign it.
Troma owns the movie. NKWay Films owns 30% of it. And as Lloyd said when we made the deal, unless this thing becomes Star Wars, you're never going to see any more money than what I'm giving you now. And we were just like, we were not unaware of, the circumstances and where we were and how it was helpful for us and for him to take a chance. But a little of a chance, because the movie was already being made. Like, we were 2 weeks. We didn't need the money they were giving. But for him to do that and continue to do the work like the Blu-ray and stuff, it's a dream come true. The good thing about how poorly Troma runs is that we are still kind of in control of, like, I hook them up. The only reason the album is even out there to stream is because Glenn Tickle, who produced produced my stand-up comedy album, has a record label and did it for me because he's a friend. We had to set it all up. We had to get the okay to make it happen. We can do a vinyl, but it's looking like we might have to still do it and get Lloyd to be like, sure thing. Like, Occasionally Cool, the movie we just filmed in December, we use sweetmeats. There's a chili cook-off, and it's sweetmeats chili, so it's in the same universe. I had to get Lloyd and Michael Hertz's permission to use my own thing, which they graciously gave, which they could have charged, and they did not. Okay.
That's awesome. Let's get. I feel like we need to get started on the film. I know.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is do my usual start. It'll say play, so we can all sync up as best we can. But obviously, you know, who knows what happens with that kind of thing. But when you see play, guys, if you're watching along with us, then press play. Boom, off we go.
I don't know. Did you hear me during your opening?
I missed you.
Okay. The MST3K opening, like, that's why you like Sweetmeats, is because we have the same appreciation of things.
That's awesome. And you know, we're talking about you were saying about having something tangible when people back things. I literally just backed the new Mystery Science Theater, and not realizing that I was going to get it anyway, because I have riff tracks. Like, I subscribe to riff tracks, so I was like, oh, so I'm just going to get the same thing twice.
I love how it's played out pretty much the way that the original MST3K history played out. Right? Like, it got sold off to a thing and it became bigger. That's when the movie happened. And then Joel became like, oh yeah, but you remember when Pete Best played with the Beatles? Like, there's like, not that, sorry, I'm not demoting Joel and his, and his awesomeness.
I'm a bit of a Mike guy, but I like both. But I'm
a bit of a Mike guy. My very first episode, my brother had bought the tape of Ega. He had convinced my dad with Richard Keel. And that is, sorry, Ega, but he also got Mitchell. Because Mitchell is the Switch episode. So Joel's last episode is Mike's first. And then I never saw a Joel episode again for a really long time. I just saw Mike.
That's it. It's like kind of sci-fi channel. No, I'm the same, because it's I could talk about Mystery Science Theater all day. But it's like the sci-fi channel era is my kind of, and that's essentially Mike. And then going back and getting Region 1 DVDs shipped in, so I could watch some of the older ones. So it's definitely
the KTLA, or not KTLA, the ones that I've only been able to find like on the dark web or have like through conventions or something, is the one where they did the local. Some of those on YouTube as well.
Those
are rough, but I love seeing the ingenuity. I love seeing
you can see every bit of construction paper and glue.
Speaking of Sweetmeats,
well, let's just, before we fully get into Sweetmeats, where are you time wise? I want to make sure I'm synced up with you.
Oh, I don't have the movie playing.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, that makes it easier for me then. Because I'm one, for people who are watching along. It's we're just into the second minute of the film, and there's a certain gentleman. We will talk spoilers, because realistically, it makes sense. And this is where I was like, oh, okay, is this, you know, are we in slasher zone straight away, with the mask and that kind of thing? How soon was there any intentions when you were making it with these moments with the iconography of the pig mask and things like that, that you were that you wanted people to think a certain thing about it straight away? Like, did you have any ideas about kind of twisting and turn? Because I feel it does twist and turn quite a bit.
Yeah, and it is just all of my appreciation of the genre and studying it and the ins and outs of when different things ebb and flow, how ultimately horror, the best of it, or the innovative ones, are just a reflection of what is going on socially, like what is going on politically, what is going on in the zeitgeist. And I think the movies that stand the test of time are the ones that are still prudent, because the things that, like Texas Chainsaw, Elms, you know, even if you go back to the Universal horror movies, I think there's a new appreciation for The Invisible Man, because it's starting to look a little bit more like political theater and megalomaniacal people who are in reality, no longer just on TV, or it's blurring the lines, becoming invisible. I think horror is awesome for that. And there's so many different variations. So with that opening, I was trying to, the interview at the beginning of the movie, where we see a snippet from the quote unquote past, where we're going to go with Sweetmeats, that kind of set late 70s look with Bobby Sweets. It's like, oh, okay, interesting. That was just to be like, okay, just remember, this is where we're going to be going to. This is the story. And so then when we get into the present day, I was like, I want to, because I colored it. I was like, I want to color this to look like modern day, maybe even more early 2000s torture porny, or the Platinum Dune remakes of like Chainsaw. I want to make it look green. I want to make it look brown. I have this thing that I'm going to have be brighter in its 1978 version, right? Like Michael Myers. If you look at it,
yeah.
Zombies Michael Myers, which more looks like this butcher at the beginning. Big man.
Yes, true. Yeah.
Right. And like the blood is darker and the intestines, it's gratuitous. We don't even care that it looks a little fake because we're like, yeah, this is what you want, right? So within that, and I'm sorry, I don't want to feel like I'm filleting myself. Anybody listening to this, like,
that doesn't come out. No, we want to know about the movie, so it does involve you talking about the movie, so it's totally okay.
so it's very intentional to start it that way, of being like, well, if this is reality, or this is this kind of horror with this mask, which has had an evolution, we're now going to show you possibly one of those avenues of evolution through a it's really a Southsploitation movie. Because this is the point I'm getting to, is the poster that you have up on the screen is it's the brilliant Mark Schoenbach design poster, who he did that, and there's musical notes on it. I wanted it to be that. He watched a cut of the movie and he's like, I think it should be that. And together we were like, yeah, because this is like Microwave Massacre, right? Like when you go and see that big box art, it's the fucking coolest thing ever. And then you watch the movie and you're like, what's this piece of shit? With yakety sax and like the box. You fucked me again, box. So like, even like foreign artwork, or how like companies would sell and acquire, even back to like Ed Wood himself, of just being like, let's retitle it. Like, I love that, the marketing aspect. So you have Thriller, A Cruel Picture, but then you have They Call Her One Eye, and it's just like, there's the American version, there's the original version.
Well, so isn't that sorry to interrupt. No, I was just thinking, isn't that kind of what people are doing with thumbnails now? I'll rename it, I'll trial a different thumbnail, I'll trial a different title, I'll try different things, because it gets rewarded in different ways. It's just more instant than creating
it is algorithm. That's why my biggest thing that I've said is everything's different and nothing has changed. It's just a different way at approaching the things that have already existed. And it's so I agree. I think it is that. And when the people who are doing that, who are changing the names or doing this to try to hit a market or whatever is working, like right to market, like novels, Eric Hunter, a friend of mine who's in the movie and collaborator, he talks about being a horror writer. And it's like, well, your description, your title, if you do, R.L. Stine, I think, just released, unless it's a joke, A Nightmare on Nightmare Street. That's a book he's coming out with. And I'm just like, fuck, that's amazing. Of course. Yeah.
It's like I was watching a movie earlier on today, and from the, I think it's early 70s, Satan's Sadists. And I was just like, that's just one of the best titles. Oh no, Satan's Satanist. Sorry, Satan's Satanist. It's even more on the nose.
Hell yeah.
Well, if you're a Satanist, then
Yeah.
it's implicit that you belong to Satan. So
Unless it's all about like getting saved by the end of the movie. Like then it's like, oh, this is an after school special.
Or it's about none of those things whatsoever. It's just about nothing. It's not about Satan.
Oh, those are my favorite ones. Put Adam West farther up on the poster or in the title for like whatever, like straight to video thing. Yeah. But so like that was all. That's why if you look up Sweetmeats, there's 2 versions of the poster. For the idea that we knew that there was a bit of a bait and switch, but like there's context clues and it's Troma and it's just like we're going to satiate some of that. That's why we already had in the script the giant turd.
Yeah, well, that was the moment I was going to say. That was when I was like, that's the one for me, the one big Troma moment in the film is the turd. With the nuts and the bits and the things. I was like,
beautifully made by Lizzie Schreibeis and her dad Steve Schreibeis. They had 3 different variations of the turd. They had one that floated, that held its consistency and look. Then they had one that was hard but would start to break apart. And then they had a third one that would really just disintegrate and go apart if with a good hit.
Well, the funny thing about that was it kind of did in my mind. I started thinking of return to all of the, and then I was like. And then that carpet was pulled out from underneath me, and I was like, "Oh, maybe you're not as clever as you think you are, Matthew, because this is none of those things that you think you're gonna see next happen." The next scene literally reminded me of Clerks, like the conversation at the with the lady and laddie, and the lady and laddie. But like,
pregnant lady and laddie.
I was just
my
like
wife, pregnant lady who was actually pregnant with my twins at the time.
Oh wow! Yeah, that's so nice. Even the cast of characters you get in Clerks, you get the sort of the people who beam in, and kind of have a certain uniqueness to them.
Again, you're one of the first people that's clued. Like I've talked about, Nick Hyance and I, co-founder of NKY Films and cinematographer. Our biggest influences, we've talked about our history, was we met senior year of high school at a 7:30 a.m. art class. We were paired up at a table and we were talking about movies. And I asked him, I was like, who Kevin Smith is? And he was just like, yeah, Jay and Silent Bob, Clerks, and blah, blah, blah. I was like, awesome. He's like, you know who Robert Rodriguez is? I was like, and so he had Rebel Without a Crew and like Once Upon a Time in Mexico was coming out. We both had a love of George Romero. So Land of the Dead was coming out that year. We got to see that. But so everything that you are saying is definitely part of our history of you calling out that the Clerks dialogue is cheap. I love dialogue. The hardest part is finding actors who can do it.
Well, this is what I would, because after the poop scene, I was like, oh, this might not go,
the poop scene
might not go so well. And then I was like, no, these guys are actually delivering. And I think there's definitely, I was like, I'd imagine, before I kind of really delved into your own background and things, I was like, oh, okay. The reason that they're doing this is because, there's a lot of comedy performers in here who can think on their feet and in conversations, and it felt really naturalistic and worked. But I think you're totally right. That's when things fall down, is when you have people who you've got great dialogue, but no one who can deliver it.
Questionable dialogue. I mean, it's the not to align with like George Lucas, but it's the thing of like him presenting in the space opera dialogue that was a very particular pentameter, right? Almost Shakespearean, that like a lot of the actors there were just like, yeah, but this is schlock though. Like this is the
right person for the right,
but they got the right people, so it didn't. So like Timmy, who plays Jerry, him and I, he was a Second City Boat Co. Cast member, but like we both did IO. Eileen's done Second City. We all have this same kind of background and understanding of it, and we also all 3 have done live theater, which also lends itself to longer camera takes. Which a decision between Nick and I were like, okay, what if the performances and the situations are like a VH1 made for TV biopic.
Right.
Like the Temptations or whatever,
Yeah, like
or
behind the music kind of thing. Oh.
Yeah, like even like Dewey Cox. Like we both
Yeah.
love Dewey Cox. Like there is like I was very conscious of the two things I wanted to make sure that I knew about that I didn't try to replicate too much was Scotland, PA, because this is also based off of Macbeth because it was based off a show I did in Chicago with Timmy in it called Fleetwood Macbeth, where he played Banky, who at that time I made Banky, the Banquo character, the brother of Lady Macbeth.
Oh, that's
in
cool.
that show set in the 70s. So I already had a thing that I knew, like relationship wise, that I kind of want to carry over, and the misogyny and all that. But again, having those people, we could do the long takes. So it's like a VH1 biopic, but we're also doing it as if there's a documentary crew that's actually filming these moments, but the moments are a facade too. That's why there's the paper dolls. There's so many things of like stripping oneself or a Faustian kind of bullshit too. But
no, it's funny you mentioned it because that kind of take on something like just the idea of Fleetwood Macbeth makes me smile. I teach Macbeth to children who have no interest in Macbeth, and it's my favorite. It's my absolute favorite. It's my job to create that interest in them. And sometimes I'm successful, but
show them sweetmeats.
Yeah, I was like, this is it, and it's got that lovely mixture of all the things that this was on. The more you tell me, the more you reveal, the more it kind of. I was always going to like this movie. The reason I went to do writing at university was Woody Allen and Kevin Smith, and like that was my kind of thing. Which I was instantly then told. You write too much dialogue, you know.
So you and me both, sir. You and me both. We both got the same notes.
I just literally just scraped by. But when I'm teaching writing, it's very different, and you know, I want it to be funny and real and genuine and interesting and engaging, and like this is what I quite like about what you were just saying about the way people bounced off each other and let things go along and stuff like that. That's where the sweet spot of this film is for me, is the way they interplay with each other. But to go back to my point about the music, if the music didn't stand on its own, I think it all falls apart because people skip past the music. But the music tells the story as we go along. The music tells the story really well and makes you smile and gives you little clues. That for me is quite rare. You know, I can't think of many times I watched something where the music adds to it in that way. Sometimes the music is something more to be, and maybe you disagree, but like sometimes music feels like when it's a musical, you have to endure that to get to the good bits, unless it's something perfect like West Side Story or whatever. But like the original,
I love that you like unbiasedly were like, unless it's perfect like West Side Story, right? Right? Like we all agree. Like what?
Yeah.
No, Greg? Yeah.
But I was brought up listening to the vinyl of the
I love
West Side Story, and I was just like, in my head, nobody could disagree with me that was, because I didn't even know what the story was. I hadn't seen the film, but I remember Officer Crook.
So you were unaware of the Romeo and Juliet-ness.
I didn't. I was like 7 years old and just listening to Officer Crookie, thinking this is a funny song.
Officer Crookie. I played. So funny enough, I played Glad Hand. So the first play I did when I got hurt playing football in high school, my junior year, and I couldn't do athletics anymore. I was always in like choir and stuff and wanted to do theater stuff, just didn't have time because of sports. And so immediately I auditioned for West Side Story, and I purposely auditioned for the John Astin role from the movie, which is Glad Hand. It's the comedic character, and I love Addams Family and I love John Astin. I had seen him do Edgar Allan Poe, the one-man show in Florida, live in person, and had met him. by that time. And so when I auditioned for it in high school, my junior year, I was like, they look at the form, it's like, well, what part would you want? Everyone's like Tony, Maria, like
Yeah. Which part?
anybody's maybe, like, yeah,
Lee.
or Benito. Like, and so no one's writing Glad Hand, the leader of the dance. And the director was just like, you know, this character has one scene. And I'm like, yeah, but it's like, it's funny, right? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, let's like, I do my little bit, I get in, I get out. Like, yeah. But so yeah, that's well, and Eric Hunter, who I mentioned before, played Tony in that production. And weirdly, you mentioned West Side Story, Caitlin Stevens Gunther, who plays the one of the interviewers, the interviewer, the short one from the beginning of the movie that comes back later, played Maria in that show. And Samantha Wright, who plays the other interviewer, played Anita.
How strange.
It
wasn't even in my notes.
I keep everybody, if they are willing to come on board, whatever we're doing, if I've come across someone that I'm like, I really think you're talented, even if it was in high school where we all sucked. Those people like Caitlin, like Samantha Wright, or even Eric Hunter, I'm just like, hey, we're doing this thing. Are you still interested in like acting? And they're like, yeah. Like Caitlin and Sam, they're not acting. I was like, I think you guys could do this interviewer scene, right? That's the lowest stakes. You just have to talk to a camera, right? Your character's very set. You know what that is. And they knock it out of the park.
Yeah. And like, you knowing that and seeing that in somebody else is quite important. Like, I had a friend who asked me to do a news reporter thing for one of his shows. I've just put it onto the channel today for a bit of a laugh. But because no one's ever seen it and no one's likely to, because I was cut out. But and I've got no arguments with that. And I see, but you know, he maybe saw something in me that wasn't there. But you know, it definitely was that surrounding yourself with that group of people naturally over time. It's a testament to be able to get along with people and maintain friendships, but also like that is the sign of so many great. I mean, we talk about horror, you know, it's the John Carpenter group of friends, it's the Deborah Hill and all those guys together.
Deborah Hill needs more credit.
Deborah 100%. You know, she's just, you know, just I could go on all day about her importance in that whole crew of people and beyond. But you know, I think that you look at an Argento and his group of collaborators, they all made him he had a vision, but they all helped that vision be realized.
I think Coscarelli is often overlooked for that as well in the Phantasm series, Beastmaster, all of, I mean, if
Romero, of course.
Well, oh yeah, I mean Romero, I mean Martin. If nobody has seen Martin, if you're just familiar with Romero and the zombie films or his associations with Stephen King, go back and watch Martin. That is an indie film, as indie could be, with the biggest swing of an idea.
It's a 10 on 10 film for me. Yeah, I love that film. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, Argento, he is an interesting study because he almost, for me, fulfills that very boxy kind of Quentin Tarantino thought process of you age out, which, I mean, he's not wrong, but I don't think it's as cookie cutter as you age out. I just think for a lot of different reasons, auteurs end up not doing their best work on the back nine, which is fine. Yeah. But Argento is such an interesting, I think, study of fucking Bird with the Crystal Plumage, like right out of the gate, just knocking it out of the park. And then what is it? Cat o' Nine Tails is fine enough giallo, but then in Deep Red, Profondo Rossi, like really hits his like, ooh, I also want to be a weirdo. Like I don't want to just do Hitchcock. Yeah. And then then you get Suspiria. Like,
my
favorite. Might like different iterations of Argento. Like I think he maxes out at opera for me.
Okay.
In the last 10 minutes of that movie is wildly unnecessary. But for me, that's where everything after is kind of diminishing returns.
I think that's probably fair. I think as well to have a run as good as he had is a bit like we
Oh,
say about John Carpenter, and
wild.
we said about you know John,
Prince of
you know,
Darkness. Don't like Prince of Darkness at all. What a swing. Like,
yeah,
and again, like movies of his that weren't appreciated at the time, like Thing. That's a new semi-newish love for me
yeah.
of
A lot of people now obviously wish. I bet he wishes they were saying that at the time how much they love it because it's so many people's favorite
but
film
isn't
now.
it awesome that like there was
Yeah,
this kind of again zeitgeist, there was this energy of we don't want anything to do with bad aliens. And
yeah.
then the next thing that comes back with bad aliens is aliens.
Aliens, yeah, that's wild. And unlike, I'm a big fan of In the Mouth of Madness. I just think
Mm,
that's an incredible film, and that might be one. I don't know whether people will. I've started to see a lot more Sutter Kane merch. That's always a good sign.
yeah.
That things are take, and maybe that'll be one that people do go on and on and on and about in a bit. It probably won't ever reach the heights of the thing, but it's one that I watch more than any, maybe more than
Well,
all of these.
it's part of that sifting for gold mentality that I think some fans have. And there's some good and bad that comes from that is where you know that there's a creator that you idolize and that you want to keep on idolizing, but they're not
Mm,
coming out with any new work or any new work in the way that is hitting like it used to.
yeah.
You start sifting the gold of their old stuff. They live. They Live
Mm,
is a movie that I think could, if you're talking about like remaking something, I don't
mm.
think that is a complete hit like Escape from New York or
Mm,
Thing or even Big Trouble in Little China. I think They Live is a little sloppier than the grandiose idea that people latch onto of being like, oh, that's awesome. Or the treasure.
yeah, yeah. There's some great visuals that people can put on a t-shirt or in a
But again,
poster.
that is
Yeah,
me.
which is amazing.
I
Yeah,
don't
amazing.
anytime that I have an opinion like that or whatever, if someone's like, you're wrong or whatever, I'm like, oh, I'm not telling you this is the way you got to think.
No, I
Because
mean,
I'm
I think
also every
certain.
time I just want to enjoy the movie. Like when
Yeah,
a trailer comes out or whatever, like Scream 7, man,
mm,
can't wait to see what they do.
yeah.
Eric
Let's give it
Hunter
a
and
go.
I,
Yeah,
we're going
give it a
back and
shot.
watching, we're going to do a double date. We built a theory that if they want to, they could justify Gail orchestrating this whole thing and it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like if they want to do that, but we're like based on the last couple Scream movies, even though Kevin Williamson's coming back, it's probably nothing that big or intricate. But
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, this is it. I think the older you get, the more difficult it is to have to go into things with an open mind. But it's really important to do so and not and get rid of any prejudgments and just go. It's a movie. I might enjoy this. And there's a lot of people who go into movies. They almost hit a certain demographic and they go, it's a movie. I'm not going to enjoy this because it wasn't made in 1986 or whatever. Like
that's
then,
watching.
then
I mean, not to
you're
bring it
missing
back, but
out.
like Sweetmeats is it being a horror musical comedy or it being a trauma movie, as you can see on the letterbox. Oh my gosh, 5 star, 3 star, 1 star, half star. It's like thought this
Yeah.
was a trauma movie. It's
Yeah.
not like or whatever, and just like saw the poster, thought it was going to be this, it's not, or wow, really took me by surprise. I'm glad I stuck with it. I'm like, every criticism on the letterbox so far, there hasn't been one that I have disagreed with. Because if the
Yeah,
person
two things
writing the
can be true.
review, yeah, if they're like, this ended up not being what I wanted it to be, I'm just like, oh man, I'm right there with you. Like, if you saw that poster and you thought this was going to be like,
Yeah.
Slash and Dash and like TNA, like yeah, I apologize, but we also purposely did that because I want to see if maybe you also secretly like that and you wouldn't watch this
Well,
if
this
I
is it.
didn't.
I was concerned because is it what's the one from was it last year? Is it Heart Eyes? The is it called Heart
Yeah,
Eyes?
I didn't
It was
see it
just
with
straight.
Mason Gooding.
Yeah, just a straight up slasher. I was like, okay, that's fine. It was fine.
Mhm.
Like when I saw the poster and the mask, I was like, oh, so it's going to be like a Troma Heart Eyes.
Mm.
Couldn't be any more different. And I would say that for the better because I'll remember. And I'm not just saying this because I'm watching it with you because I would tell you if I didn't. But I will revisit this film and I'll also remember it. But I can barely remember anything about Heart Eyes because it was okay. But that's not like a dig at that film. It's just
Mhm.
it was more fun for me to see something that I wasn't expecting. However, I can, like you say, I'd imagine sitting in your position, you do have to accept that there's somebody might go, I don't like it because it's not what I expected.
I love it, but that's the thing
Yeah.
is, and like there's some like or Nick Hines will be like, "Why are you looking at these comments and these
Mm.
reviews?" And I'm like, "Because nothing that has been said so far has hurt my feelings." Like
Yeah, yeah,
everything I'm looking at, I'm just like going, "Okay, okay, yeah, this is valid." Or I'm looking for something that maybe strikes a chord, or I'm like, "Oh, that's something we could think about to do better next time." Not
yeah.
that it's dictate like what we're deciding to do or how we're going to do
No,
it.
no, but
Yeah.
yeah, because it's I get what you're saying. That there might be hidden within all of those words something that just resonates with you and go, actually, yeah, that's a really good idea. Like it's just as valid as anything else.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. We're up to now. We're about just up to the half-hour mark now, and we've got you're kind of bemused expression as you're getting the it shouldn't go in my mouth, but I want it and need it seen, as I like as, as, where it kind of goes and then it
Uh,
leans in and then leans back, then leans in and leans back, and you are allowing this to go, and it's
Pizza
it's
guy.
really really funny. Yeah, it's a really funny scene.
Kim
Um,
Sherwood is pizza guy. Oh, well, see, you say it's very funny. I have heard people say, this goes on way too long, Ricky. This needs
okay.
to be cut in half. And I'm like, I think the bread, I think the length is in juxta again, going back between Surly Shirley and Pizza Guy
Mm.
was something that I wanted to do. Both of them, basically, this whole cast of Sweetmeats is coming back for Casually Cool and playing as kind of like the NKY Films troupe of actors, just leaning into what they do well. But so yeah, Kim Sherwood, who plays Pizza Guy, is a guy that I've done stand up with. We both started in 2005, and I've never seen him play a character like that or even act besides doing stand up. But I was just like, man, you know what? I think you'd be really good as this just you just love pizza and you don't care who's going to know it.
Oh man, yeah, he was great, and again, this is where I get the maybe some of these moments, and then straight away the next scene, um, with the customer complaining and after eating the
And
whole
you're
thing.
right, it's Clerks, because then we cut
Yeah,
out to the outside of the brick wall
yeah,
and we got two people like it's even
yeah.
framed like Clerks.
Yeah, yeah. But again, like I've seen plenty of films that try and do that, and that makes my toes curl.
Mm.
This does it successfully because of the way everybody interplays with each other. The world is realized. There's not just one outlier person who's um kind of looking like they don't know what they're doing.
Mhm.
Everybody's inhabiting the characters so well that and that's what works in Clerks as well. Is that there's some heightened stuff in there, but the
Yeah, the
way everybody
earnestness,
else
the
accepts it,
honesty.
yeah,
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 it's the same thing of like I'm a big fan of Aaron Sorkin's writing, not always his directing of his own stuff. But that is
mhm.
obviously a heightened sense of dialogue that people are just like,
Yes,
man, I
yes,
wish my politicians talked this way. Or it's a
oh,
reality
totally,
that we
yeah,
wish. It doesn't seem like it's a heightened reality, but it's a one that we're like, we would buy into it, even though we know people don't talk this way. But as long
yeah,
as
yeah.
everybody's in on it, yeah.
Yeah, because like I'm just thinking of the moment there's a bit in I think in Mallrats where it's like, and
Yeah.
I would if I could monosyllabically express myself in a way that you'd understand. Like nobody speaks like that, but I'm willing to accept that Brody
Yeah.
speaks like that because that's funny and it's different than everything else I'm seeing. And I remember Kevin
Yeah.
Williamson having a quote about that, which is really interesting because I was unashamedly a fan of Dawson's Creek, and I absolutely
Oh,
loved it. And
oh yeah.
one of
Heartbroken
the
yesterday.
one of the totally, and one of the
Yeah.
things that I'll always go back to, and the way that they were delivering their lines and the lines that they had to deliver, was Kevin Smith was like, "What's the worst thing that can happen out of this heightened dialogue and the way that teenagers don't speak, is that you get a dictionary. Somebody picks up a dictionary and finds out what a word means. And I was just like, yes, this guy.
But I went through. What's interesting for me is I feel like I have gone through, like, growing up, the Monkees TV show. I mean, a lot of old comedy, Hope and Bob Hope and Bing Crosby, the Road Pictures, Martin and Lewis, like a lot of old comedy, the Marx Brothers, Three Stooges, Charlie Chaplin, like the Monkees using a lot of that in their TV show, and then the merchandising, and then the movie Head. If you just look at the Monkees as an influence for Sweetmeats, you could probably connect every thread. There are others, the Burt Reynolds, like the Smokey and the Bandit 1 and 2 soundtrack, Any Which Way You Can, Every Which Way But Loose soundtracks. Like, that is the music. That is a lot of the Southsploitation, the ripoffs of Smokey and the Bandit, like with Highball and a different thing. There is, like, De Palma, Phantom of the Paradise. There are a lot of influences in here, but you could really distill it to the Monkees and all the branches that touched. The fucking Muppets. It touches the Muppets because you have James Frawley directing the Muppets, and he started off directing the Monkees, and he started directing improv. Like, there's tons of SNL everywhere. The way that everything cuts back to a center stage for a musical number in Sweetmeats is basically my way of going back and, like, and ladies and gentlemen, blah, blah, blah. Bobby Sweet.
Okay.
And we go back to it. And you're right. And even the songs tell a story, and there's an evolution within those music videos, within the characters. Jerry, it's so funny when people are just like, most people say Laddie. Because it's, I mean, she's awesome.
She's
like,
great. Yeah.
Like, deliciously devil. And Jerry is a sweetheart who's on the spectrum and has, like, no self-confidence, but is brilliant and savant-like in so many different ways, but loyal to a fault. Bobby is a piece of shit. He's not good. Like, he's not talented. He's threatened by Jerry. As soon as he gets an opportunity to shed anything personal about himself, he does it for pussy. Like, and like,
he has no motivation, really, does he? You know, he, like, if he was left to do it himself, he wouldn't do it. He has to have something push him into it.
So, but I relate with Bobby. Like, so everything. So the turd at the beginning, my mom loved this script. She read it. It's just like, I think it's awesome. I think it's great. I think it's so funny. And I was like, do you have any notes? She's like, lose the turd. And this is pre-Troma coming on board. And again, not Troma.
They'd be like, more turd.
Well, this is, I don't know if I've ever told anywhere else. Is so I was like, yeah, but Mom, the turd it represents king shit of Turd Mountain. Like, we're setting it up like this is the journey, just a king size shit. Like, this is what Bobby will become.
There's more to it than the usual.
Like, and so like, my mom was like, okay, whatever. So originally we had a lot of things scripted that were just like based on indie. Do we go back and insert cutting of weird meat, boiling? Like, we had that opportunity to do all that. Do we do insert shots of all the 45s that Bobby talks about? At the end of the day, that would have cost money and time. That we're like, this is the movie we have, and if we add those things, maybe it makes it feel bigger, but does it make it better? So Heinz and I decided not to. One of the things is when Laddie says, which I'm jumping forward in the thing, but when she says, if I catch you touching anybody else, we'll put hot dogs on the menu, blah, blah, blah. Bobby looks off is because he was going to envision a woman, which was going to be my mom, eating a very dick-looking hot dog that is just like a dick in a bun and going,
supportive mom, a very supportive mom.
Until then, she said 2 days before, Ricky, I thought about it. Our family members are going to see this. I don't feel comfortable doing it. And I immediately said,
comment.
Yep,
yeah,
100%.
Yep.
I get it. Day of we're filming of all the people of the extra scene, my mom takes me and is like, Ricky, I've noticed Nick with the camera has been getting a lot of other people, and I've not been really on camera that much. And I was like, what is happening right now? And then she watched Rick Hasselbrock, husband to executive producer Amy Hasselbrock, go to town on the porksicle. And then she, in between takes, she's like, you know what? After seeing that gentleman do that and how like everybody loved it, she's like, I think I can do the hot dog scene. I was like, oh no, 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 that ship has sailed. I was
And
like,
it's
that
so funny
opportunity.
that to call him a gentleman when as well during
Yeah.
that. It's such a mom thing to do.
That's the indie filmmaking of it all.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I mean, and that is essentially something that, you know, we're of a similar age that where you find out that that's how a lot of the great indie films that you love did get made. You know, it was a
Oh
mom
yeah,
and
quick
a
aside, I
friend
was
and
gonna
a
say
sister and a
the reason for that, not R.I.P. Kevin Smith's mom,
yeah,
but
the milkmaid. Isn't it? She was the milkmaid.
yeah, and so that the correlation is that. But what's funny is Kevin Smith and a lot of those filmmakers were influenced. So, like, if you look at the film brats of the 70s, they all love John Ford and like the Searchers. Everybody's making their version of the Searchers.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up on John Hughes and like The Last American Virgin and Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Like I grew up on those before seeing Kevin Smith, before seeing Quentin Tarantino, before
Of
seeing
course.
Robert Wright,
Yeah,
before
yeah.
seeing Spike Lee. So the things that they were kind of influenced by, of like you said, like Kevin Smith creating the dialogue, creating the vernacular, they were just cribbing why they love John Hughes,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he was like, I can't write teenage dialogue. Like, I'm not a teenager, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to trust the teenagers who I am casting, and I'm going to create the vernacular, because then I'm not trying to make it sound like them. I'm making it sound like whatever, and they will put the inflections on it.
Oh, totally, and like that's not even something that is hidden. It's mentioned in the films, you know, like going to find Shermer, Illinois, and all of these things, you know. And you're like, you know, these are things that, like, as a, you know, I was the same. Like, I remember watching The Breakfast Club and thinking, I could probably write something like this because it's mainly in one room. And then finding like what a bottle episode was, and really loving bottle episodes of things.
Yeah,
and
Friends. That's why I love Friends and the commentary of Friends, and having them, Bright Kaufman Crane, talk about how they made the sausage, like what worked, them pitching jokes, them having a writer's room. I didn't know, them having a Bible. I didn't know any of that stuff. Picking up DVDs, laser discs, like in the 90s and 2000s, like that's where this comes from. That is the DIY kit. Like, Hyan's introducing me to Robert Rodriguez, and then the 10-minute film schools on like El Mariachi, or I mean, just the commentary on the El Mariachi, like that is so beneficial. He tells you how to, even more so now. I think people think that tutelage from 30 years ago is old and doesn't fit to what we have now. Honestly, replace everything he says with, it will cost you nothing because now you have an iPhone.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally.
And the idea of a $7,000 movie that seems, oh, you can't make a movie for 7,000. No, you're not going to make a movie for 7,000. You're going to make it for 100.
Yeah,
because you
I
have
mean,
an iPhone.
I don't know if you saw last year. You probably did the Milk and Cereal last year. I thought that
Eric Hunter
that was amazing.
loved it. He turned me on to that. Yeah.
What a great film, and you know, released on YouTube, as good as some of the ones that are being really lauded. You know, sort of the Zach Cregger kind of, you know, who's getting absolutely, you know, loads and loads of credit and thing. But I thought Milk and Cereal, I actually enjoyed that more than say Barbarian or whatever. I just there was something special about it that really stood out, and I thought I can't wait to see what Curry Barker does next. And again, like you said, that's probably filmed, you know, on a phone or something similar. And
when you're talking even the high end of it. So like, even if you look at like what the Duplass brothers are doing and what they're producing and what kind of they're picking up with like the Florida Project and different things, the things that are shot on iPhones, when I say, yeah, you have an iPhone, also know that the iPhone can be turned into a rig. And so it can be even better.
Danny Boyle has done that, yeah.
But it's like buying a guitar. Here's to the 40-year-old white men like me who always wanted to play guitar, always go to a party and play a little bit of John Mayer or whatever. Like your body is a wonderland and just like a couple chords, and that's why girls like you. Like I didn't have that. Like my fingers are short and stubby. I can write music, but I need like someone like David Kornfeld who arranged the music for Sweetmeats, Dustin Matthew Taylor who plays a couple songs. Side note, he sings The Legend of Bobby Sweets, The Sweetest Meat, and Diddle My Fiddle in the movie. We tried putting his voice as Bobby Sweet's voice, as a singing voice.
For the,
and it didn't. We unanimously as a group were all like, this doesn't work. It unfortunately has to be my real voice. It can't sound better because then Bobby should be more famous, unless it is completely a dream thing where he doesn't sound like, and then we'd have to lean into that. But
like he was kind of imagining how he would sound. But no, you're right.
So you can accelerate like the stuff you have, but you can get a free version of the Splice app. You can get a free version of a good like Filmic Pro app to film on your camera what you have for the price that you invested on your phone or that your parents invested. And then of course, but you got to have a story to film. You got to have something, a nugget of something of that you want to tell that's being seen or even visuals.
Again, like this is the thing, isn't it? You know, you're saying it's a good way of thinking about it. It's something to build off because, when no one's imagining that Danny Boyle just got his iPhone 12 and went out to, because literally it was found, not the last one. Oh, no, in fact, no, the last one on the one
didn't change the aperture, didn't change.
He's just like that, waving it around. But like, that was filmed, 35 minutes from my house. And, I saw, while I was walking my dog, I saw all the trucks and everything driving down there, all the crew and everything. That was not just Danny Boyle and his cat and his iPhone. There was loads of people to the point where I was like, what is going on? Because it's a pretty quiet part of the Lake District. And I was like, what you can't actually drive down or walk down to certain parts of it where they were filming. And I was just thinking, this is a big setup, but the way it's sold in the media is like, this is the iPhone movie.
But that's the market, right? That's the marketing. And that's what's so fun. What's crazy though about like crowdfunding with horror and what we ran in with Sweetmeats, we were trying to make a movie. Sweetmeats is begats of a movie called Open House, which is about you can see the trailer on our NKY Films YouTube page. It's a script that was a horror musical comedy, dark comedy, about a mother and a daughter who are unhoused, and they have this scam that they sign up for open house showings or house showings, and while they're there, they leave a couple doors unlocked, open a couple windows. Burning this idea if anybody wants this. We have the script.
No, that sounds cool.
So then they return at night, and they go in, and they have a heated place to stay. So they do this though with this realty couple who their get up is, which is going to be played by my wife and Timmy, who played Jerry. They are the biggest realty couple in this city, in this like suburban city. And they also have a house that when they smell that someone isn't really wanting to buy, they're just looky lures. They take them to one particular house where they hold them hostage as they workshop the thing they really want to do, which is write off-Broadway musicals. And they subject an audience who are chained up in theater seats vis-a-vis Sweetmeats, the theater seats that we bought.
That's definitely some people's idea of hell for sure.
And it was an Adam and Eve musical. And so Sweetmeats was involved with that because we had little iconography things like the tub had a Sweetmeats logo. We had the mother and daughter ordering takeout and stealing food from a restaurant, Sweetmeats. And so we had the restaurant where we end up filming Sweetmeats already locked down to film this little bit for open house. We couldn't get our funding because we sold it as on Kickstarter as a horror musical comedy. People are like, if I want to give money to something like this, it's going to be TNA. Right, so we realized like Sam Raimi even doesn't promote his movies. Like Drag Me to Hell doesn't show any of the humor in the trailer. So if you watch that trailer and you're like, oh, badass horror movie, I'll go see that. You don't care that it says made by Sam Raimi. It means nothing to you. But if you're watching the trailer like, oh, badass horror movie made by Sam Raimi. Oh, I bet you there's more going on with that movie. I'll definitely see that. Us, you don't know who the fuck we are. So if we're showing you something and it's horror musical comedy and there's a musical number, is just like, oh, I'm not going to support that. It's like, damn it. Okay. We need a fake trailer. We need
stealth
like,
mode.
yeah.
Yeah.
Give me
That's really. You're talking about the house, like the jumping from house to house idea. I'm desperately racking my brain of a Cat 3 film that is very similar idea, and she's a an estate agent, or was it, what do they call America, as a realty
realtor,
realtor,
yeah,
that's
realtor.
That they and she kind of loses the plot, but then. And this isn't the same sort of thing, but it did jump to mind, and I think it's worth mentioning because I don't think a lot of people watched it. There's a film a few years ago called Doomsdays, with Leo Fitzpatrick and another guy, and they're basically guys who go around these places when they know people are on holiday and stay there for a bit until the people are just about to come back, and then move to another house, to another house, to another house. And it's a fascinating little indie movie, but it's something that, until you just said it then, I was thinking, you don't really see that. And it's definitely doable as an indie movie, isn't it? Because you can just go from a house that looks like a house to another house that looks like a house. Or change a house, or use different parts of the same house, I guess.
Yeah, we filmed a proof of concept trailer, and we filmed a proof of concept, one of the scenes, because my mother-in-law, again, use what you have. My mother-in-law was buying her house in Ohio at the time, so it was move-in ready, completely empty. So Caitlin Stevens, who I already mentioned, Kim Sherwood, who played Pizza Guy, Beth Metcalf, who is the victim who gets her fingernails pulled apart in this and goes slamming up against and gets hooked in the back with the double hook, and then gets dragged. That's my best attempt at a leather, like OG, like Texas Chainsaw, of like the hammer and like drag and like pull the like that. I didn't really achieve it, but it's what I can do.
That's fun,
but yeah, so like we had all those actors come in and do this reality scene that appeared in the movie, and it was really funny and it was really good. And we had this empty house that was like, looked like a house that you're showing, and then like not get like Roger Avery shared the movie. Edgar Wright pimped the movie on Twitter. Like we had so much people being like, yeah, this is the kind of weird horror that should be made, and you should mix a lot of genres and blah, blah, blah. Man, did it not translate. Like, I don't even think we raised $10,000. But as soon as we filmed the fake trailer for Sweetmeats, which made it look like an unreleased, like drive-in porno movie from the 70s, but had all the iconography, the butcher look, had 2 out of the 3 girls who were the cheerleaders, had a lot of the kind of a little bit more gonzo humor of like with the country music, and like it had a dick meat grinder, like, which we ended up not doing in the movie.
Hey, you won't be the first person to do that, but it's just like, who was the guy who took the couple of guys went to see a movie thinking that Ana de Armas was going to be in it, and then she wasn't. She was just in a little clip. She's being interviewed in the film, and they're like, I'm taking you to court, I want my money back. Oh my word.
I didn't know that coffee was going to be hot.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking that's like McDonald's apple pie burning my crotch or whatever. Or maybe I'm thinking of a different thing. But it's oh, by the way, you've just had your beard removed as well. At the moment we're 51 minutes in. So you've just I take it you had to grow it out and then it went. Or was it?
Oh my God!
Was it all movie magic?
Yeah. So what's great about that is, so we just got done with a real long day, because we filmed this 8 days in a row. The wraparound stuff was done on one day about a month later. The garage scene and the upstairs scene with the daughter, Anna, my actual daughter, who was 4 at the time.
I was going to
but so we had to film everything else kind of chronologically because of the beard. Or as my wife has said, why do you keep on writing movie roles for yourself where you look like shit? And I was like, because I don't know how to act and I need help. Like facial hair.
It's like we've got a makeover scene. We've got like a proper bona fide Let's get him. Let's get him spruced up. Let's do it like Mr. Burns, where there's straight to the tongue and there's a.
Well, there's also a song called Makeover and Clone High. If you've never seen it, semi-obscure show from the early 2000s.
I don't think I've seen Clone High. No.
But so I wanted to also be very cognizant of Laddie never touches Bobby or lies about her intentions. Like the closest she gets, and it's real late on thick, because she's like, I've been hearing you play downstairs and it's real good. Like, it's not like, even she's like, this is the worst that I've lied, but I have to do this to get to this next like shaking of the hand of the like re-signing the deal. But with the makeover, she's just like, you look disgusting. Like, we have to change here.
Yeah, we're gonna have to start from scratch.
Even down to like, if you look at it later, there's one point where you see it. I wanted it to be as much like, and if we could have filmed it, I mean, good that we didn't, because it would have just been too on the nose. Is like, you know, in Empire Strikes Back when Darth Vader's helmet is dropped on him and you see the back of his head? That's kind of what Bobby looks like when he doesn't have his cowboy hat wig combo, because the wig is built into
the wig is quite a wig. Yeah,
it's quite a wig. That wig is quite a wig.
It's quite a wig. It's wigtastic, and I think I was just thinking, you know, I was trying to put my finger on what it was about Laddie that, as I was watching it, I realized like how disappointing it is sometimes when we watch movies and the female characters are just not developed beyond being shrewish or being, you know, just one thing. Like when you mentioned about Macbeth, and I was like, Lady Macbeth. So there's definitely elements of that with her. She's got a lot going on.
Sorry, for Shakespeare nerds, Grook is Lady Macbeth's last name. That is her house name. That's why they are Laddie Grook, and it's Scottish. Right. And Jerry Grook, the spelling of that, it is 100% on the nose for that. Again, if it helps infuse this old kind of story that you've seen a bunch of different ways, like you said before, like West Side Story, it's like, well, now we're doing it in this kind of way. We're gonna show you it under this kind of genre. So the biggest joke of the movie is it's called Sweetmeats: The Legend of Bobby Sweets. This movie is 100% about the rise of Laddie. Like, this is Laddie's movie.
Yeah, it totally is. Yeah, she's making everything happen, isn't she?
That's what I think. I'm just like, yeah, Bobby's a piece of shit. Laddie is psychotic, but
yeah, and you know, you talked before about what's it called? John C. Reilly.
Walk Hard.
Walk Hard. I hadn't watched that. I just for some reason thought I wasn't going to like it. One of the things I did watch it maybe a year or so ago, and I was like, the music stayed with me afterwards. Like the actual song, the Walk Hard, Hard. I was just like, oh my word, that's so good. The music is the best thing about it. It's a great movie. It's a good movie. I like it, but how the music changes from bit to bit and decade to decade. Absolutely loved it. That element of it. I'm not as taken with. I think maybe I was all worn out on the.
That's in the Will. It's like, if you want to talk about like Marvel or superhero fatigue, that was in the Anchorman, Will Ferrell and Friends of buddy bro comedies that were kind of coming out, like Hall Pass and like all those other things that were just like the saturation. It's so funny. We don't have that now. We don't have
anything. Yeah, it's just not there. Because like I remember going to the cinema to watch Anchorman 2 and thinking, what are the people laughing at? And I was the biggest fan of the first one. I thought the first one was amazing. And like,
oh man, you know what's a bad choice? My brother and I, same situation, went and saw a double feature back to back in Chicago of Anchorman 1 and 2. Watched Anchorman and we were like, oh man, it's funny. We did this 2 different times. And we were like, so good. It holds up. Thank God. Watched the second one and we're just like, oh, you really shouldn't watch the first movie before watching I love the 24-hour news. like that. I
Yeah.
love that
Oh, it has
part of the
moments,
story.
but they're funny people, so
But
that's a
that's the
given
same
that
thing for me.
yeah,
So Nick
yeah,
Hines and I went and saw a double feature of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back with Jay and Silent Bob Reboot at our local theater. And because
yeah.
we're like, man, maybe Jay and Bob Strike Back doesn't hold up. Maybe it's nostalgia
Mhm.
goggles. We watched
Yeah.
it, everything for us except for the homophobia.
Mm.
That felt a little bullyish, a little harsh.
Yeah.
Kind of worked for us. We thought it was still funny,
Yeah.
a good, right in the same vein of like Pee-wee's Big Adventure, a good road trip movie.
Yeah, and
And then,
watching the sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
oh
Continue.
no, yeah, I mean, I will straight up say, like, watching J Bob we after in the intermission, we were just like, okay, you know what? Maybe Reboot's gonna be really good because that was
Mm.
really enjoyable. What a popcorn fun film. Here's the issues we had, and then we watched Reboot, and we were just like, fuck.
Yeah, there's one moment I really like was the
Ben
Ben
Affleck
Affleck. Yeah, and that was it. And that was all I took from that film. And
cried
that's
like a baby during
yeah,
it, and Hines is
how good.
just like, you've just been fucking emotionally manipulated. He knows
Yeah,
what he did by getting Affleck for that part, and like, and
yeah.
you ate it like candy, and I'm like, I know.
I remember it worked. It worked.
Yeah,
Yeah, it got me. It got me.
it
Um,
emotionally resonated.
Yeah, and it got me. I was literally at a point where I collected everything and I got everything as much as I could with Kevin Smith stuff. And I remember I remember getting the moment it really changed for me was the animated groovy movie, and I was
Mm.
just like, oh, this is just about wanting money. Like this is just put like there was nothing salvageable in that film, and I was so nervous when I went to. I was the only person in the theater in Greater Manchester. I was the only person. I went to the cinema, and I was the only one sat there watching Clerks 3. And I was so nervous before watching it. I was like, please, please. I actually didn't mind it at all. I actually quite liked it. There was moments in
I
that I really
think
liked.
there are parts. So Hines and I went and saw that, and after being burnt on J Bob Reboot, he was already like,
Yeah,
I'm probably not going to like this.
yeah,
Uh, which, gosh, thank God they didn't make the original Clerks 3, where there's the shootout in the movie theater and all that. Thank
yeah,
God. So for the longest
yeah,
time, I hated Jeff Anderson because I thought it was gross how he dropped out so close to production of the original Clerks 3. But then I saw this, then I heard the script, and I was just like, oh, I'm glad that didn't happen. But
yeah, yeah,
what happened with Clerks 3 is, I know it was filmed during COVID. I understand the indie of it all. There are parts of it that I liked, and I could be nitpicky. The thing
yeah,
that,
yeah.
and maybe it's because COVID, but Hines called it out before I did, and Hines being the cinematographer, he's like, and this is how many years ago was Clerks 3 released?
Maybe like 3 or 4 years now. Yeah.
Hines called out, he's like, it feels like it was filmed for vertical integration.
Really? Oh, I didn't
He's
did
like,
not.
if you
Yeah.
look at the framing, he's like, people are so fucking centered. And it is so
Mm.
just this. And he was calling this out. Like, this is post, like, we just saw the movie. And his qualms were, he's like, I thought it looked awful. And I was
Right.
like, yeah, but
Right.
maybe that's COVID. And they had to frame it that way to keep distance from people.
Yeah.
And maybe it is, but maybe it was also something because Kevin Smith
Yeah.
is a social media participant.
Yeah. Because there wasn't a lot of it visually that I like. Even when you're bringing people back from the dead and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't like visually interesting in those moments. But it held me because of obviously because of the dialogue and the connection and the history
Mm-hmm.
and all the things that you bring to the table when you're watching a film from somebody you've watched all their films and
The emotional manipulation.
yeah, it got me again. Damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it got me. It got me again, and it like I was okay with that. I was like, okay, I think I'm okay to leave it there now. Like I'm good. But the groovy movie knocked me for six. I was just like, oh, this is awful.
Yeah, and like I loved Red State when it came out. I've since gone back and
Yeah,
watched it, and the
it's
things
okay.
that I don't love about it are a little bit of the things that I think are glaringly obvious to me, having done a couple movies. I'm just like, oh, you know what? I'm glad I'm rewatching this again because these are choices. Okay, maybe I don't do that. Like maybe this is tonally like we don't do this, or maybe we do this. And like again, for him,
Mm,
like Tusk, people have really big opinions one way or the other. That movie worked for me because I grew up kind of watching weird movies like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean,
But the Yoga
if you're
Hosers didn't work for
Henry
me.
Lot
But
or
again, Yoga Hosers,
yeah,
like, I'm not a 16-year-old girl. I don't know. Like, it'd be
yeah,
cool if
yeah,
this is having a daughter now, having Anna. It was nice. It's nice to like be aware of. She has literally said, like, I'm like, hey, you want to listen to this band? And she's like, are there girls in it?
yeah,
And I
yeah.
just be like, oh no. And she's like, okay. Like, but like,
Mm,
if it's a movie like K-pop Demon Hunter, or if it's something that isn't just featuring a and friend or a plot device,
yes,
through my daughter's
yes.
eyes, it's been great seeing her see representation on screen, because I dealt with that with my brother Eric, who's openly gay, who plays one of the guys behind the Sweetmeats. For years, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I love this romp. He introduced me to Kevin Smith. He came back home from college and he gave me Dogma and Chasing Amy. And Dogma, he's like, I think you'll like this. He's like, Chasing Amy, he's like, maybe when you're older. And I love both. And that was before he
Yeah.
came out. And talking to him, the first movie that we all watched after he came out was A Nightmare on Elm Street 2. And like,
Oh wow.
that was before
Yeah.
all of the this is
Before
so
it, yeah,
bad,
before it, yeah, before it
the
literally is
cracked.
the one thing
Yeah.
that everybody will say about the
If
movie now.
I think you can almost trace it back to the biggest spread of that being wildly known or talked about, discussed, is the internet, and the Cracked article, I think, released like the 10
Mm,
gayest horror movies, and like
yeah,
Jeepers
yeah.
Creepers 2's on there. And like, but yeah, and so seeing representation of movies, I talk about rom-coms and my brother's just be like, I don't like this at all, because just a bunch of straight people getting together.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, uh, 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 yeah. I think it's funny you mention about the sort of how you might view things through a different lens. Different people bring you to them and talk to. That's really like it is really important. It's not important that we get every single voice and view and
Mhm.
opinion in every movie, but it is important that we do get to see those things in movies. And I think that's a really important distinction, isn't it?
So one
Like,
of my favorite YouTube comments, talk about reading comments, on All Your Friends Are Dead trailer, is someone commented, all your friends are white. And I'm like, you're not wrong. I was born and raised in Northern Kentucky. So, like, the first black person I met was Muhammad Ali. And there's a picture of me as like a 2.5, 3-year-old
oh wow,
being held by him, bursting into tears because a black man is holding me. Because
right.
I did not know. It's not that my house was racist, it was because
No,
of what
no.
I was exposed to.
Oh,
It's like
totally.
my dad has
Yeah.
that framed in the basement of Muhammad Ali holding me, and I'm like,
Oh,
because it's
yeah,
also a stranger.
yeah, and I see the other side of it because I've worked in areas where in schools where we've had 16, 17 languages, lots of different, and when some parts of my culture are shared,
Mhm.
there's either fear or laughter or like confusion, and I'm
Fear,
like,
of
okay,
course, of
well,
what you that's what's going on now.
yeah,
What do you
let's
not
talk
know?
about it. You don't you won't be scared of it if we actually
The
connect and talk
illusion
about it.
of, not to go in like a big political like
No, no.
soapbox, but I think it goes with Sweetmeats and a little bit infuses like what we're making with our movies, to a small degree, because entertainment is one of the biggest priorities, or what we're trying to, with whatever we're doing, is right now there is this illusion of everybody knowing a lot because of the
Mm,
access to information that we have.
yeah.
But there is this ignorance of everything because we're ancillary in these echo chambers.
Oh,
So we think we
totally.
have this
Yeah.
access to a lot, but so that means we're also being like there's a ton of propaganda of like, be afraid of the unknown, be afraid
Yeah,
of
like
what is outside here. Where
fear
there
of
used to
things
be some
that you've
embarrassments in
never
adults.
you've
Yeah.
never experienced. Fear of things you've never experienced, and a fear of people and things that you've never met, and you've never interacted with.
Mhm.
But that's a very powerful way of keeping you scared because you'll never interact with them, and because you are. So it's like
Mhm.
self perpetuating, and I live in a village with a couple of hundred people in it, and you know, occasionally you see in local posts, my father fought in this war, blah 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 blah, immigrants and blah blah blah, blah. And I wouldn't. I'm not qualified. I'm only qualified to talk about my own experience. And I'm like, when was the last time we had? You saw anybody who looked different to you in this village? Like, what is it that you're afraid of?
So that is why, and it's a small infusion of it, but it's there. Of Laddie's like, first we'll get rid of the tourist, and then we'll get rid of the people that nobody in town would care about if they went missing.
Yeah.
So, like,
so these little things. This is just a little. This is just a little thing. These are and then it's a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more,
and a little bit more, and a little bit of you and a little bit more of you until Bobby is
until
pushed
it's you
until the ultimate right. Well, and that's the whole question is like, is Bobby like for me? Bobby is there is a time where Bobby met his demise because his usefulness, you know, it was no longer. And I think that's when she has the Enterprise and the progeny. It's just like, I don't.
Well, he's a puppet. He is a puppet, isn't he? And like, in the same way Macbeth was as well. And he you know, that's one of the things I've always like switching around when we're talking about that is, you know, kind of really digging into his character as someone who, you know, where she's literally saying like, unsex me and I'll do it. You know, like, you know, let's get rid of all the things that make me a woman and unable to do these certain things. If you haven't got the sort of ability to do it, I will. I can do these things. And
well, and I think that's something that's
kind
overlooked.
That's Laddie.
Yeah, I think in what's overlooked in the text of Macbeth is imposter syndrome. So when Macbeth is coming back home from war, I think there's some questionable things that happened that he doesn't talk about, that he is experiencing PTSD before Banquo, before the death of Banquo. I think the death of Banquo is really exacerbating the guilt that he's had from this imposter syndrome of being a hero coming back from war.
Yeah, the idea of being sort of lauded for something you don't feel proud of and you don't feel
so I think Bobby is making his, you know, he's again, there's three different. I hate it for Eileen because she carries so much of the weight of all the scenes, of all the exposition, of all the story, of all the emotionality. Because even we had a joke on set where Eileen would be like,
"But the humor is still there," so I think that allows it.
Luckily, because Eileen is a pro of comedy as well. But she's like, "Is this the scene where Bobby just sits there slack jawed and doesn't know what to say?" I'm like, "Yep." I was like, thank you for carrying all, because we do 3 scenes. It's long takes in the dining room. We tried to film it 3 different ways and do different things with it, but it is kind of a renegotiation of the deal with the devil in a short amount of time. We condense kind of the evolution of to like, as an audience, we're like, look, we can't show you movies, but we can inclinate where this is going because she's already said it's Ronald McDonald meets Michael McDonald, you know.
Well, she's currently in the part that I'm watching. We're an hour and 11 minutes in. She's directing the young American football player how to say sweet meats, you know, because it's sweet Mets, and
I love it.
And she's directing the whole thing, and this leads into one of the parts that you were saying earlier on about where he is led by his penis, essentially, to carry on doing the things that he might have. He might have a little slither of conscience where that completely disappears.
And Laddie has a list of how far she's willing to go until it's not advantageous for her. And so she's like, I don't want to have to touch you, but if touching you satiates you for X, Y, you know, for X amount of time, great.
Yeah. She's
so
like,
then she purposely, that was a thing. Of our very little continuity was in takes earlier on. If we do very few takes too, where it was just a reminder, Eileen, don't touch Ricky. Laddie doesn't touch Bobby. And so because as an actor, like doing those scenes, she sometimes wants to come up. That's why we incorporated her wanting to put her hands on my shoulders, because during rehearsal, she kept on putting her hands on my shoulders. I was like, you can't touch. Like, if this is something we're doing, you can't touch me until the hand on the hand scene. But then I love it's in real time. We see how far that goes.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
doesn't
Well,
go very far when Bobby has 3 cheerleaders who are just like, we will fuck you right now in ways you can't even think about. You're not even gonna have enough cum to like deal with this. Like this is insane. This is just a Dear Penthouse letter. And
and
Laddie
it's
is just like,
off to the bathroom. They go.
yeah, well, and it's yeah, off to the number 1 bathroom. But the hand, she registers, she's just like, nope, gotta lock this down. I gotta get that seed.
Got to secure the what is it they say these
Progeny.
days? So yeah,
The bloodline.
yeah. So we've got a really interesting shot here of it's right on your face, and the lights are flashing, and you're being interviewed.
Oh
I
yeah,
believe,
he's freaking out.
Yeah, and you're losing it.
Yeah, so we had
we're not out. We're not outside very much, either. So it's so interesting.
Yeah. Well, also because of how we filmed it, based on times of day and how we scheduled it, we never. It was very specific about how the light was coming in from the front of that restaurant. So one of the final scenes before The Devil Is a Woman I Know is the only time we filmed that way, with the sun coming in that way, coming through that weird cross and that weird like mosaic. What is that called? Stained glass.
Right. Got you. We got
Sorry,
the eye removal now as well. No, it's really interesting. No, it is. That's what I want to know. I want to know the stuff that
filmed in the basement of Bobby Mackey's. Mike Flincham, his producer friend, whose grandfather is Bobby Mackey's, before the infamous Bobby Mackey's that was supposedly haunted was torn down. That's where all this basement stuff is filmed. And again, that's where we are going to film the basement of Open House, with those theater seats, with the theater like everything that this is a variation of Open House, except for I pivoted from an Adam and Eve musical to country music superstar, like a Glenn Campbell, Kenny Rogers kind of.
Well, we've just had you getting out the car in full Smoking the Bandit garb.
In my dad's 77, who played Ponce de la Surge.
Oh wow!
Is Rick Glore Sr. That is his 77. This is one of my favorite scenes.
It's a very cool car. One I think I used to have the Matchbox of that car, with the fire, with the bird on the front. Yeah, I'm not a car person. The Phoenix, there we go. But I definitely had that. I think I had that, the 18 van, the Fall Guy truck, and a few others.
Oh, Fall Guy. Okay, yeah, love that. Oh, theme song. Oh, so good. That's another influence.
Yeah. So the bit here where you've, just before, I don't want to go back to another bit because I was thinking then, what is the implement that you take the eye out with? What is this? It's not an ice cream scoop. What is the little circular thing?
It is. It's like a melon baller. It's like a
melon baller.
Melon baller. So we were coming up, me and the special effects team with Sophie Ferris, Lizzie Schreibus, and Steve Schreibus. We were coming up with like different items in the kitchen of like what would be cool to do something. And I think someone said like, well, you could scoop someone's eye out with a melon baller. It'd be like perfect size. And this is how we could do it. I'm like, great. So this goes into like what we could film and add in as inserts. We were going to show the chicken breast look like breast, but fried breast with like nipples on them. Like we were going to show all of the food that he talks about, the balls, and it was going to be the eyeball, the fry balls. All of the things that Bobby says, I think in the scene that's coming in right here after he comes inside and he confronts Laddie when he finds out, when she's like, we got to get rid of Jerry.
Yeah. You served a ham sandwich to a kid.
Ham sandwich. Great delivery.
And the young lad's kind of like, okay.
I'll eat that hand. Again, that was the son of our high school quarterback, who I played football with. His son, he came and was an extra, brought his whole family, was just like, oh, this is cool.
That's funny.
But so like then the evolution of the banana that becomes a story. I've told this before, but Timmy brought it up early on. He's like, I think Jerry has a banana and here's the arc of the story. Can we do it? And we're like, Hyance and we were just like, yeah, you built a good story. It's not going to take up it doesn't overshadow. And now I'm going to make this music video for you at the end called Title of My Fiddle about Jerry's Heaven. So I was like, yes, 100%. And then Eileen adds on to it at the end. She's like, does Jerry have his banana on him at the end? I was like, yep. She's like, what if I grabbed it, took a bite at it? And I was like, perfect. I was like, that's amazing. And then she chucks it and hits him right in the dick.
That's the and then that I was talking about earlier on, which really works for.
Yeah, but like people, I always think because it is so heavy-handedly Macbeth, and like clearly Jerry is gonna the demise, like the road that he goes down is gonna inevitably be that. To me, it's so clearly that. But there have been different people watching it where I believe it was Darrell, who is the guy who gets his neck throat slit. It doesn't look that great, so we had to play with the speed of the footage. I hate how it looks, but he paid to get killed, and so we had to use it. And it sprayed the wall. He at the premiere didn't know the full movie, and he's like, I thought when Laddie and Jerry came downstairs, Laddie was going to go to kill Jerry, slip on the banana peel, and fall into the meat grinder, which the meat grinder built by Steph Morris, designed by me and Chris Morris, producers. And when they built it and we came up with the design, I didn't think to say, like, don't build this out of real materials, like make it out of styrofoam so it's light. That meat grinder was like 400 pounds. It was so heavy operation.
Heavy, man.
But yeah, so so the eyeball, like, so it came coming up with different things of like cutting out the tongues for the porksicles. But the banana scene, him doing that in the scene of him dropping it, that is one of the few things that was semi-improvised, that we weren't knowing how Timmy was going to tag that scene, because it was supposed to be just him waving and like trying to open it, and then him getting it open and dropping it. Yeah.
He's here right now, dude. Literally happening right now. And to go back, what you were saying about, you saying it being obviously Macbeth. I mean, I'm somebody who teaches Macbeth quite a lot.
It wasn't obvious.
And I didn't get that until you told me. And when you told me, I was like, okay, I think that's what adds to the depth of Laddie, certainly. I got the sort of the filmic references probably more because it's my sensibility. But all of those things really dovetail so nicely for me that, in a way, that if you had concerns going, oh, it's obviously this and that, I don't think that's the case in any of the things that we've talked about. I think it is uniquely its own thing.
I will pimp. I will. Yeah, I take that as a compliment, and it's. I've been thinking of it more because we do, as I said before, we do kind of live in these bubbles of I like what I like, and I know it's commonplace for me, and I'm understanding that it might not be in the art that I put out. Doesn't mean I'm going to change my art, but I also am a very collaborative person. Everybody on set knows that. The movie is 100% the team, even though it is my vision that everybody's got to get on board. Once we're on board the basically the cruise boat, then we can all make the thing, as long as the choices are to make the thing better, make this piece better. But I was doing a Low Budget Rebels podcast and being interviewed. Josh said, he's like, Sweetmeats is a lot weirder than the way you make it sound. Just want you to know, like, it's weirder than the way you.
Yeah, there's not many sort of country singing fast food related.
Well, that's right. Everyone's like, oh, it's
cannibal movies.
Oh, it's cannibalism. Oh, it's this. I'm like, it 100% is, and that's why we didn't make that movie. That's why that's not the movie we made, and we just used it as just a piece.
Almost the cannibalism
like a
is
seasoning.
It's almost incidental to the drama.
But again,
between the characters.
If you look at that poster that you got up, that is awesome, by Mark Schoenbach. And you don't see the 70s inspired one, which I'm blanking on the artist name who did it. That looks fantastic, which still has the horror elements in it, but it's a little bit more like Race with the Devil, got that like 1978 vibe. If you just see that mask one and you don't see the music symbols on the cutlery, like, you're just like, man, this movie's gonna be metal. It's like, nope, you picked the wrong genre of music.
But like that there's lots of those already. You know what I mean?
But then
Like
we
there's
do
lots
it.
of
So like someone criticized on Letterboxd to when we get to the first post-credit sequence, which I nobody has criticized me this yet, and I thought it was easy serving, no pun intended, was the song that we do the credits on is Have You Had Enough? I was fully ready for one of the first bad reviews to be like, and Glore has the audacity to ask the audience, have you had enough? And then he has three more post-credit sequences. But
yeah.
someone mentioned that the opening of the movie felt like the movie they wanted to watch, right? With the intestines coming out. And then the middle of the movie, they're like, what is this? And then the Demon Scar music video, they're like, and then it came back to, yeah, that's what I wanted. That's what I thought the whole movie was going to be.
Oh,
And I
okay.
read that review and I'm like, yeah, I get it. You
Mm.
wanted a whole movie of that. We were just showing you this is what you like. We could also do this, but I don't find a sustainable 90 minutes in
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Yeah, because I mean, I would say I've seen quite a lot of films like that, that low budget, blah blah blah, slasher, da da da, grindy. Maybe I'm definitely not a torture porn fan
Yeah,
either. So
same.
so it's like just doesn't speak to me. Whereas I've not seen a film like Sweetmeats, therefore that makes it better in my book. Some people, sometimes people might say they just want to see more of the same, don't they? So
Mm.
then you're not going to
At
tick
this
that
at
box,
this level, I think at
Mm.
this level sometimes people want to see more of the same. I do think as we're seeing hopefully an indie boom, we're also at a higher level, like we want to see something a little different that's being served
Yeah,
right
I hope
now.
so. I hope so. Yeah. I hope so because I think even like the Kickstarter Indiegogo kind of thing is definitely it's not just enough now to say I'm
Yeah.
making a slasher movie and I'll put your name in the credits and off we go. I can definitely think of some, but I don't know if people are as not as psyched to do that as they were as a viewer, like to get on board. For me, it has to be something. There was a British person who is making one recently, and it was influenced by the Love Witch and 70s Wicker Man's kind of
Yes.
stuff. And I was
Yep.
like, oh, that sounds interesting. But then I still watched the trailer and the person being interviewed, and I was really like, okay, I was like doing my apprentice kind of thing, or what do they call it? The one where they sit in a
Yeah.
room and
Shark Tank. Yeah.
Shark Tank, yeah. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, sell me on this, and they did,
Yeah.
because it was different. I really don't want to say particular film names, but there's literally one that I'm in that is that I paid and I filmed a
You
little
can
thing
say it.
on,
Why wouldn't you say it? Why wouldn't you self
because I
promote?
feel like I know I feel like it's going to be mean because I'm going to be mean
Oh,
because it's not very good.
oh, that's
But
okay too, right? Like
yeah, yeah.
I like there are
I'm the worst bit in it, but I'm right at the end. So
well, but I mean,
I'm playing myself in the film, and I don't even do that convincingly.
but that's like that's again, it's the thing at this level. Like you're not gonna appease if a person watches a film at this budget or at this level, they might not have any idea that Sweetmeats was made for $22,000. They could
Mm,
think it's made for a half million to 10 million, and that doesn't matter for them. They just don't like it because what they want to see is it's a to call it low budget or this to call it micro budget. I call it more like no budget at the
mm.
budgets that we're operating at because it's a lot of favors and it's a lot of passion. People who want to watch movies between that wide ranging a budget lower the bar in their own minds because what they want to see usually is very specific. It is girls that you've never seen, maybe that look like next door to you naked. If we're talking about horror, it's gore
Yeah, yeah,
nonstop. It is, the greatest hits. But
yeah,
it's
yeah.
these D-list people that you've heard of or in something else. But like I'm not one that stunt casting cost a lot. And it's like we don't have
Mm.
the budget to do it. So like having Lloyd in the movie,
Yeah,
Lloyd
he's
was
just
in the
popped up.
movie
Yeah.
what is before Troma was on board. He just agreed to do it for no cost because he liked the idea,
Yeah.
and then
Oh,
it evolved.
I'll tell you why that's why I'm a Troma fan is because the creativity is the
Mhm.
reason I'm a Troma. The creativity of it, and we talk about money and things like, and the film that I was in, um, was like exactly what you described. It was just there was no real story. It was shot very like quickly to the point where there was like I was literally my scene. I was halfway through saying something, and it cuts me halfway through a word, and I'm just like the care and attention was not there, the creativity was not there, and it made quite a decent amount of money to make it. Whereas I've always loved about Troma. And I'm lucky enough to have spent an afternoon with Lloyd in Manchester a few years ago, and his lovely wife, and we just talked about education and all kinds of things. But one thing that I just got from him was just
wealth
this
of film knowledge.
Yeah, just the guy who knows so much, has so many things to share. You know, he's like, yeah, you won't get any money working for me, but you'll have a film school experience at the end of it. And you'll be exhausted, and you might not have think you enjoyed it at the time, but afterwards you'll be like, "Oh, I've learned loads." And he almost got James Gunn on the phone to prove this to me at the time. And we were just chatting away, and I just thought, yeah, I've always gone back to Troma films because of the creativity and the fun, and how do we make this work? How do we make this look like this when we've only got this? And working to constraints in a positive way goes back to exactly what you were saying, I think, doesn't it? Using
necessity is the mother of invention. Like the only person that's gonna stop you from doing what you want to do is you. Like, as much as we talked about Kevin Smith, you might pivot in your artistic sensibilities, you might swing back around to somebody. He is somebody that no matter what, if the movies, not everyone that he's putting out do I 100% like, I'm like, oh man, that's hitting me where I was when I was 16. Guess what? I'm not 16 anymore. I've had my own life too. He has his. He's talked about it. I don't work this quick. It's been a long time since the Quick Stop. So the one thing with him though is I will always take his motivational, and like Lloyd, their connection to not just their fan base, but all creators, where if you reach out to them, they'll just be like, yep, do it. Yeah. Like they'll be like, yeah, please do it. Please make this weird thing. Yeah, I can't help you. But again, I have to say that, like, Mike Flanagan gave to our first film, All Your Friends Are Dead. Mark Duplass has responded to emails that I sent him. I've never met him, just asking certain questions about different avenues of the indie world and distribution. There's these creators that show you who they are by what they do and how they handle themselves. So listen to them. And I think whenever anybody's just like, well, who can I get that will make this avenue easier for me? Like, I mean, I would love if Mark Duplass was just like, we'll fund your next 10 movies. Even Lloyd doesn't want to make your second movie. He wants to ride the indie punk rock coattails of your first James Gunn, of your first Matt and Trey, of your first Eli Roth, of your, he doesn't want to make your second. He wants you to get better. He wants you to get bigger, because that means that the thing that you made for him makes him more money as well. Like, but he knows that. But that's what I love about all of these artists, that they are supportive, and they are telling you that if you need a film school, watch Duplass's South by Southwest. The Cavalry's not coming. That's all you need.
Right. Wow. That's really interesting. Like to kind of, the information's out there. The tools are there, but the sort of the motivation has to be there yourself as well, doesn't it? You have to, like you say, just go and get it done. Yeah. And we're, funnily, as we're saying that, literally we are on 1 hour 31, and we're watching Demon Scar now eat the people. So
filmed at Jason's Woods, and as Eileen, who played Laddie, likes to point out, there are not that many shots of her in the butcher's outfit, because even though it's supposed to be Laddie in the butcher's outfit, a lot of those are me. Right. So unless you see me on screen with Eileen, it's usually me, because we're just like, look, I'm not going to make you go to Pennsylvania. I'm not going to make you wear this hot ass like gas mask.
Yeah.
And Nick Greystone almost got blood in the eye, almost lost an eye and Demon Scar from that blood.
I also was going to ask you, do you have any inspiration? Because you've got Hammer blood, a certain type. You've got Argento blood. You've got.
Oh my god! I knew you were going to ask shit like this.
What was your kind 100%.
of? That's it.
inspiration behind the blood.
Yeah. So at the beginning, it's it's Halloween, 2019 Halloween, where they make it
Right.
brown looking, where they try to make it dark, look realistic. Back in the 70s, I was like, it's not hammer paint, it's not giallo paint red, but it's maybe almost samurai red.
Oof.
Like if we can kind of get that, but like a little bit more watery because we got some more spray play. We tried the best we could in the special effects team. So like they did have it broken up. I think we had 13 gallons of blood because one thing that you don't see is we filmed it to show my love for Elm Street. I told you the meat grinder was so heavy. We went outside of Bobby Mackey's and we built stilts and we took it upside down to film a scene that we were going to try to use some post effects of blood, like the bed, like Glenn's bed in Elm Street.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Pour blood down it, look like a geyser to cut in between the music videos. I think Catching You or The Grind to show a couple shots of the meat grinder just spewing up blood, basically to the effect of like how you see Nick, the dad, when Bobby gets covered at the beginning. Like, well, what does that look like? We couldn't get it to look good enough, so we kind of.
Well, you know, my fear with things like that, if I was to make a movie with lots of blood and pouring down, is that this is a very strange niche reference, but there's an old clip of the wrestler Kevin Nash, and he stood in the ring, and there's like a blood bath supposed to land on him, and they open it, and it just lands behind him, and he's just kind of shrugs. That would be me making. It'd be like, okay, guys, so we've got no more budget for blood left. That was it.
Well, I think that is what it like. We spent a day. So the day that we filmed that, it was me, Chris Morris, and Nick Hyance. That's the body parts being thrown in and the grinder. Chris Morris was inside of the grinder when the meat was being pushed out. He did that over and over again, trapped underneath there, pushing that gross ass ground beef over and over again. It smelled so bad. And at one point we accidentally went upstairs for lunch and he was still in the meat grinder. We remembered when we got upstairs, we're like, where's Chris? We're like, oh shit.
See, this is from working in a range of different states. I'm fine with blood. I'm okay with sick, but puke or whatever. Vomit. There we go.
Barf.
And barf. Yeah. Anything that you see on a garbage pail, kids. But poop.
Yeah.
Unless it's I struggle with. So you did win me back in this movie because the thing, and I was like, it's the one bit in Troma movies when there's a lot of it where I'm like, oh geez, here we go, I've got to get through. And I'm going,
gratuitous, whether it's nudity. So all three of the cheerleaders, one of those actresses is an adult dancer. One of them has an OnlyFans, and one of them is an ex-Playboy playmate. All of them were
like
comfortable.
That's something else I have in common with them. Sorry,
you're an ex-Playboy playmate. Playboy, different kind of Playboy.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
No, I'm down for chase a rabbit. Let's do some joking. But they were all comfortable with being bare-breasted, and Hyance and I were just like, in this day and age, why? Like, I don't want to be here ripping, like, because I was the one that ripped open their shirts. And like, I was like, I don't want to, like, and then they're like, don't we get the same thing across with them being in their bras?
True.
Like, this isn't the 70s where like you could, like, on my phone right now I could pull up porn. Like, it's not like, oh, you got to put it in these titillating kids movies for the drive-ins because that's how they get there. You're like, but even then that seems, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's
not
an interesting.
Anybody's yum, but
no, exactly. That's an interesting debate, and I guess as well, it comes down to like my impression of you as a filmmaker from what you just said. Very different to say what Michael Winner might think of when he's making a film. You know,
like
Michael Winner might, like what can I get
Yeah.
out of this? How can I get my jollies? So there's definitely
canon films, and I'm a big fan of canon films.
Me too, love them. Yeah.
If we got to do it, if we get to make like our next 3 movies, like if we were doing a Kevin Feige board of things we're going to make, one of the top of that list, dream board, is a movie called Pizza Boxer, which is our version of every straight to video or Jean-Claude Van Damme, Brandon Lee movie of the early 90s, Steven Seagal.
Nice. Oh man, that sounds awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. I was lucky enough to see Steven Seagal in concert in when I was
Lucky.
in, yeah, which is one of my favorite things I've ever been to, because he was surrounded by the best blues band ever. You know, Blind Chicken Johnson and all these different guys, and they were all going for it, and they were great. And then there would be like Mojo Priest tour. This was, and it was like, put some mojo on it, Priest, and then they point at him, and then he plays guitar like Homer Simpson plays guitar, like boop, 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 boop. And it was one of the greatest experiences ever. And you've got people there, like there was a lady at the side of me with a VHS wanting to get him to sign it, and he could have done. He had time in the encore because everybody had left before the encore, and he was playing his encore, and it was just me, my friend, the lady with the VHS, a couple of it, and he's still going for it, the mojo in it up. It was a wonderful experience, but the people, I really felt for those people in his band, because they were all genuine talents. They were great.
Well, that's so I was not aware of Jean-Claude. Jean-Claude was introduced to me via Nick Hyance, and then I was like, oh, because I grew up with like Arnold, Stallone, and Clint Eastwood and stuff, and some WWF like Mr. T, like tag team matches with Hogan. But so I didn't watch the Jean-Claude or the Steven Seagal, and so Hyance and I more recently got into all that, and I'm like, all right, let's watch Under Siege, right? Because he's the next, and he's just like, man, it's going to be a big letdown after watching all that JCVD. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. And so we watched it. I'm like, well, Tommy Lee Jones is amazing. Like, this cast is fantastic. Gary Busey is fantastic. This Die Hard like knockoff is great. I was like, this is like, because the worst JCVD movies is the ones where they try to make a legit, like the hockey one. They tried to make like too much of a Die Hard movie, and they dial him back too much, JCVD. So Under Siege, and they start getting into Seagal, and he's wearing that cook's jacket, and then he takes it off. I was like, oh, here we go. They just uncaged the beast. And he's wearing that tank top, but he's got like noodle arms.
Yeah.
And he's like not buff. And I was just like, what? And he's fighting. It's like,
he just throws people around like judo.
Yeah. And I was like, what is this? And Hyance looks over at me and he's like, I told you.
Well, I interviewed somebody who worked with oh my word, what's the name of the famous I think they pretty much based the scene with Bruce Lee and Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time. He's the guy that trained Ronda Rousey, Gene LaBelle. And I'm pretty sure that he also, during his time of righting wrongs, I'm pretty sure that Gene LaBelle schooled Steven Seagal as well.
Hopefully.
So that was just great to hear. That was really, because I was interviewing Leslie Hoffman, who was she's the hall guard in Nightmare on Elm Street with the pigtails.
Yes, I was going to say that name sounded familiar. Elm Street, number one.
She was telling me about the kind of experiences with Gene LaBelle and people like that. And I mean, she had to be as tough as those guys to do all the stunt work that she's done. And she was in Airplane, doing stunt work in Airplane. Fascinating lady. And she was also the queen in the Naked Gun, where they get the queen and drags them down the table. Yeah, that was her. So just kind of hearing these to kind of go to your story about the action stars of those times. I find that all fascinating, but the one that always stood out for me with JCVD was the actual film JCVD. The monologue he does in that is just a wonderful piece of work. He's just it's like heartbreaking. He's great in that.
Well, and it's, again, you can look at that genre of films and just hold it up to like, man, what was masculinity at that time? Like, what is going on in music? What is going on in film? Where does this now split? Where martial arts, like, you have so many dojos that are opening up around that time. You got Karate Kid, and like how that's perceived by some men, how some men look at karate as not being a masculine. Like, it's such an interesting time that, like, that's why I kind of want to make our version of that, because it's just like, I was like, this could be
American fun. Ninja, because the subsection of people, the David Heaveners and the people who are like kind of were going to be the next ones, or ones that sort of like canon were going to pin to, who didn't quite become household names.
Yeah, they did. They
Those
still
guys are
paid
fascinating.
they still played for Bronson. They still paid for Chuck, but you know
Yeah,
they
like
also had
Dudikoff, and
Spielman. What's his name? Greg's or Spielman, or who was the American Ninja, or one
oh,
of those.
Speedman, was it? Was
Speedman.
it
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Just
Yeah,
Speedman?
Jeff
Yeah,
Speedman.
yeah,
Yeah, Jeff
yeah.
Speedman. And then again, like people like Brandon Lee, who then had this like legacy, this validation of just like, you should be cool with what he does. But then he comes in with this giant steroid head. and,
Yeah.
and it's just, again, the inherent comedy that is there. James Bond movies are great for this too. I think one of the best things about Bond movies is that they were aware, sometimes purposely, sometimes just by a facsimile, of commenting and satirizing the big films of the day. Like they do it early on, but it's really apparent in like Live and Let Die and Man with the Golden Gun, because they are just like before summer blockbusters existed. They're just like, what do you want? You like martial art movies? We'll do that. What do you like? You like horror movies?
Well,
Like, we'll
yeah,
bring in Jaws. Like, we'll
yeah. It's so
literally bring in Jaws.
that'd be really good direction to go in, because for example, like it's like the Seven Golden Vampires. It's like Hammer going, oh, what's big now? Oh, okay, let's go and make a Golden Harvest film, but with Dracula. Which I actually love it. And so
if you do the Hammer, the Terrence Fisher Hammer movies against some of the Universal movies, they win. Like, and there's a big.
They do for me, but maybe I'm a bit biased. But yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, Hammer. A lot of the times we're just like, yeah, but what if the Universal movies had women with big tits and you saw their cleavage? Like, that's a lot of the Hammer movies. But them making Dr. Frankenstein the villain, Peter Cushing, in the Frankenstein movies, is such a more interesting. I mean, Basil Rathbone is great in Son of Frankenstein. That's the thing too, is a lot of people are overlooking the other waves of Universal horror that have kind of gotten lost, like the Son of Dracula and all of those, like the 40s and the 50s ones.
Yeah, and like, this is the thing as well, I think, that made those Frankenstein movies so amazing, is that he's the ultimate villain in that, Peter Cushing, but in their other franchise, he's the ultimate hero. He's Van Helsing. Like, nobody questions that for a moment,
because he's so good.
He's so good. And that
Christopher Lee, though,
you couldn't do that.
He's Fu Manchu. What's crazy is Christopher Lee hated it because he had to do it. Dracula, Prince of Darkness is arguably one of the best Dracula movies, just visually, story. It doesn't have Peter Cushing, and Dracula says like 2 words.
Yeah.
And so it's like the prototypical Michael Myers masked killer, like, and it's so good. Again, like, yeah, I think people overlook Hammer too, for the same reasons of just like, maybe it's just TNA.
Yeah, there's possibly I don't know if it's a different thing, whether the same affection that I have for Hammer, maybe in America people have for the Universal monsters in that way, and it's kind of an unshakable thing, so we just kind of see them as a little bit better than the other one.
Well, the only thing that we have, and this is me really maybe talking ignorant, we don't have we have great overseas horror movies, obviously, and we can see the influence of that with like Ringu and the Japanese horror, or some of the Australian horrors and stuff, but we haven't had that renaissance of like across the pond horror, like with a studio like Hammer, since then. So the 90s, like, Clive Barker is like the closest to getting to it in the 80s.
Yeah.
So America, we have slasher, and like we're still doing it, and it's just like, well, you guys stopped.
And there's a lot more independent kind of funding and way in America, whereas in the UK, if you're making a horror film like Jed,
well, you guys shut it down. It's like Germans saying, why don't we have any funny people? It's like, well, you killed them all. It's like, you guys, why don't you have any good horror movies being produced? Well, it's because your video nasty, like your rules made it
Yeah, and
in that
also like
decade.
if you're looking at national lottery funding being the main way that films get made, they're more likely to make like a bodice, Emma or
Hmm.
Great Expectations. I don't know,
Wuthering Heights, something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah, something along those lines, because that won't necessarily get people into the cinema, but it will get awards, and it's
Hmm.
mainly awards bait. So the horror side of things is not going to happen unless they get like something like Host that was popular. It was
Hmm.
funded. It was funded by the USA. It was funded by Shudder. So like, or at
Well,
least it
that's
was
why I
helped.
love that Cronenberg, that everything Cronenberg does is Canadian funded. I'm
Yeah,
just like,
yeah,
yeah, use that money
yeah,
for that weird shit.
yeah. Totally. Like, yeah,
I would have
I could
loved
talk.
Sweetmeats. I would have pushed for a marketing campaign to make Sweetmeats a video nasty in the 80s just to raise its cachet for then when people finally see it and they're like, wait,
Mm.
why?
Yeah, yeah. People got so excited. I mean, Cronenberg's got a unique thing that he's almost with Crash tied in with the downfall of an entire government. So,
Yeah.
not many people can say that. It just shows you how you can whip up stuff. Strangely, brought down our government with the help of people like Ted Turner getting upset as well. It's such a weird time and fascinating history that I don't think people could get whipped up in that same way now, because everyone's so divided into little subsections that it wouldn't be enough to divide to group one amount of people
Hmm.
behind it. I don't know. Maybe they would. We'd find. You have to find some. You're going to have to find something in your next movie that's so offensive that everybody hates it.
Well, so our next movie is Casually Cool, and I think it weirdly, as specific and weird as it is, it's obviously weirder than I give it credit for. I think the humor plays on all four quadrants, which is a weird thing, like gross marketing thing to say. But then the movie we're trying to fund to do our two movies in 1 year, Truly Trudy, it opens with a Jonestown-like mass suicide. A little bit of a harder sell, but then it turns into every coming of age high school movie you've ever seen. It's the surviving
Nice.
member of a religious death cult who is then thrusted into the last 4 months of a senior year of a high school.
Oh, that sounds really really interesting. Just doesn't surprise me that it sounds really interesting and exactly what I was into, because I connected with Sweet Meat so much, and I'd love to share out that and have
Yeah.
you come and talk about your next film and anything that you're always got an open invitation to come on
Not
the
that I
channel
don't like
whenever you want.
criticism, but I also will send you a cut once we have it of Casually Cool, since I already know that you like the kind of soup, the stew that we make. You are a good one to be like, good, probably a good sounding board of like, oh, this maybe it's missing this of what I like from sweet. Maybe you could give some good criticism for that as well.
Well, I don't know, man. Man, there's first time for everything. Good criticism, I don't know, but criticism for sure. No, I'd love to. I can promise you an open mind, and yeah, I just really appreciate you coming on, Ricky. It's been an absolute delight. I'm sure that because we filmed this at a strange time so that we can both be available.
Yeah.
There's more and more people see this. Has been loads of people popping up in the comments, and we've just been chatting away so much. I haven't had time to say, but just thank you to Mr. Dan and Horror who's in there, the Wigan Film Club, people asking questions there about different films and things. But I just felt like we were just so in the zone when it came to Sweet Meats and Beyond.
Mhm.
It's just been an absolute pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, hey, if you want to copy and paste those questions in an email, I'd be happy to answer for you to post on whatever any questions that anybody had that we didn't address.
Oh, that's awesome. No, thank you. And this thing goes for anyone watching in the future, just put something in the comments and I'll
Oh yeah.
forward that over to Ricky. And so, Ricky, how can people, let's just remind them, how can they A, watch the movie, and B, if you want them to, get in touch with you?
Troma Now, first month. I'll just do the Lloyd Kaufman, like Lloyd Kaufman here. Troma Now, first month free. See things like The Toxic Avenger, things like
You were on the you
Sputnik.
were on the you were on the front page of Troma
Oh,
now.
it was awesome, man. When we released on Thanksgiving, again, our doing, not theirs, we were like, can we release on Thanksgiving? They're like, if you want. I'm like, All right. I was like, yes, let's
Let's
please. I
go.
would love that because
Yeah.
for the holidays, people will be inside. This is a great Thanksgiving film. Troma
Mhm.
Now, first month is free, so you could watch it for free and then cancel, or you could keep it for $4.99 a month. I'm not contractually obligated to say this, but they have a ton of movies. They got Vinegar Syndrome's entire catalog.
Yeah,
I
they've got
think
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
stuff.
Argento or Giallo's, unless I'm misquoting, there are a lot of titles on there without commercial breaks. I think Tubi is fantastic, where you can watch All Your Friends Are Dead for a little bit longer. I think Pluto. I think these are great apps to see things that are kind of lost media that you might not be able to find anywhere else. Like Mr. T's 3-season show TNT, that was a syndicated show, is on full
Nice.
on Tubi. It's fantastic.
Not
Um,
bad.
but yeah, watch Sweetmeats on Troma Now and follow me anywhere you want. Google my name. You're not going to be like, well, which Ricky Glore is this? If it
Yeah,
has
that's
social media, it's me. If it's not, it's my dad, and he ain't on social media.
yeah, social media, right? So you got the right guy. Oh,
Yeah.
well, thanks again. Thanks for sharing this film with us. And I'd like to think that people who watch this channel know that I'm pretty open if I like something, if I don't. Obviously, it's all totally subjective. It just so happens that this film, I really, really loved it. And thanks for that, Ricky. I appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for watching and doing this and shining light. And also anybody who's listening, watch and listen to Adam Marcus episode because he is a pal of mine and is such an influence of talking about things that were in my life, like Jason Goes to Hell. That is a horror movie that before, like right around when Freddy's Dead came out, I was just like, oh yeah, what would you do for like a sixth in a franchise? Like, yeah, do that. That is awesome. And so Adam, I mean, of course, he hears enough. Like Todd Farmer is a fellow Kentuckian. Jason X,
Ah,
I'm friends with Todd, and
Jason X is my absolute
I
favorite.
fucking love it.
Okay,
And
so
Todd is like your rarefied air, sir.
there we go. There he is.
The sleeping
Amazing.
bag simulation scene is the price of
Oh,
admission.
don't
Them
even. We
wearing
could.
Nick Hyance made the joke. He's like, so I guess in the future there's a shortage of fabric and material because these dudes are all wearing like mesh like late 90s shirts.
Oh man,
Um, yeah, so
I'd love to. I'd love to. We
Todd
could do a
Farm.
whole show on that. Let's do
Oh,
a Jason X
yeah,
in the future.
yeah.
Let's do that.
Thank you again. That's just me saying thank you, Matt. Anybody
Ah, you're
listening,
welcome.
stay on board because Adam is going to give a great interview
Oh,
about.
thanks,
I'm
man. I
guessing he's
appreciate
talking
that.
about Hearts of Darkness, his new doc.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna. Jed Shepard, writer and of host, and Dashcam is a massive fan of the film, and I'm just basically going to let those two guys sort of fly
Gonna be good.
with sort of insider stuff that I really want to hear about about that movie. So yeah, can't wait. Hopefully, you never know. These things sometimes don't.
No, 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 no. Adam has a gift of gab, and he will. It will not be a rock that you have to ring for information.
Oh, that'll be awesome. That'll be really, really good. And yeah, stick around, Ricky, so I can say thank you in person. And thanks everyone for watching. I appreciate it. And yep, keep watching. Google Ricky Glore. You'll find them all. You'll find those movies. And I'll see you all again. Bye now. Be careful out there.